In the far north of Europe, where land and sea struggle for dominion, lies a world carved by ancient forces. A world where mountains erupt straight out of the ocean, where glaciers still sculpt the valleys, and where islands above the Arctic Circle remain ice-free, warmed by currents born thousands of kilometers away. For 2,000 kilometers, Norway stretches from temperate forests to polar deserts, a single country spanning half a continent of climates. A land of contrasts, midnight sun and endless night, rock and ice, storm and calm, ancient tradition and modern innovation. This is Norway, a world of contrasts and the beginning of an unforgettable journey. Few nations are as defined by their geography as Norway. Its coastline, if stretched out, would circle the entire planet twice. More than 50,000 islands scatter its shores, carved by glaciers that retreated 10,000 years ago. Most Norwegians live in the south, where valleys widen and winters soften. But the further north we travel, the more the country becomes a mosaic of remote communities, isolated farms, and municipalities accessible only by boat or plane. In the far northeast, the indigenous Sami people maintain one of Europe's oldest cultural traditions, migrating with reindeer across the high plateaus. Their knowledge of the land predates written history. Their routes are carved not into maps, but into memory. Yet the most surprising element of Norway's geography lies offshore. The Gulf Stream, a current that begins in the Caribbean, bathes the coastline in warm water. As a result, harbors far above the Arctic Circle remain ice-free, even in midwinter. It is this unlikely marriage of warm sea and cold air, of deep fjords and wind-battered plateaus, that gives Norway its character and its stories. Our journey begins in the north, in a place where the mountains rise straight from the ocean, the Lofoten Islands. Lofoten is a geological cathedral, a chain of granite spires born billions of years ago. These rocks are among the oldest on the planet, forged when Earth was still young and violent. For 6,000 years, people have lived in the shadow of these mountains. They arrived for one reason: the cod. Every winter, Arctic cod migrate south along this coastline to spawn, a bounty so predictable that entire economies rose and fell with the catch. Stockfish, cod dried in the cold air and ocean wind, became Norway's first great export. For medieval Europe, it was gold. Even today, stockfish is dried the same way it was 1,000 years ago. Whole fish, no salt, preserved by the precise balance of sun, cold, and Arctic wind. Lofoten's geography creates a tale of two coasts. The eastern side is calm, shielded by mountains. But on the western front, the North Atlantic unleashes its full power. Few places in Europe see storms this fierce. For generations, fishermen risked these waters in open boats. Entire villages would wait at the shore, scanning the horizon for sails or wreckage. Trollfjord, a sliver of sea trapped between stone walls, is now a favorite of tourists. But once it was the scene of the legendary Battle of Trollfjord, when fishermen fought over access to its rich waters. The cliffs here inspired countless legends of trolls and giants. To the people of the past, only supernatural beings could explain such a landscape. Beyond Lofoten, we find one of Norway's greatest surprises: fertile farmland north of the Arctic Circle. Here, the warm Atlantic winds funnel into valleys sheltered by mountains. Summers can reach over 30 degrees Celsius, warm enough for barley, wheat, strawberries, and even potatoes. Nearby beaches appear almost tropical, their white sands contrasting with icy peaks in the background. Tourism, once barely present, is now a cornerstone of the northern economy. Travelers come for the midnight sun, the aurora, and the sense of remoteness found nowhere else in Europe. On the island of Vestfjord lies Borg, the seat of a Viking chieftain who ruled these seas over 1,000 years ago. Archaeologists discovered not just a home, but the longest Viking hall ever found in Scandinavia. A building 83 meters long, symbol of immense power. Here, chiefs hosted feasts, decided wars, blessed voyages, and forged alliances. The hall was a world within a world, the political and social heart of Viking society. Each year, craftsmen from across Europe gather here to revive ancient skills: blacksmithing, weaving, carving, brewing, and ritual performance. But the pinnacle of Viking technology was the longship. Lightweight, flexible, and astonishingly fast, these ships could survive open ocean voyages and navigate rivers only a meter deep. The Oseberg ship, buried with two noblewomen, remains one of the world's greatest archaeological treasures. Its shape, its carvings, and its engineering reveal a society far more sophisticated than legend suggests. Oslo is both Norway's political capital and one of its greenest spaces. A city where forests cover 2/3 of the land and the fjord shapes every district. It is a city built for people, walkable, calm, and deeply connected to nature. Further inland lies Hardanger, the orchard of Norway. For centuries, families have cultivated apples, plums, cherries, and pears along the fjord's sheltered slopes. Tradition here is a family affair, pruning trees in winter, harvesting in summer, making cider and jams that pass from generation to generation. Hardanger is also the birthplace of Norway's national instrument, the Hardanger fiddle, with sympathetic strings that create its signature shimmering sound. Nearby, Steinsdalsfossen offers a rare perspective, the chance to walk behind rushing water without getting wet. Hardanger's craftsmen preserve the boat-building traditions of the Vikings, shaping vessels the same way their ancestors did 1,000 years ago. Hardangervidda is Europe's largest mountain plateau, a cold, high-altitude desert where weather changes in minutes. Its flora is miniature, adapted to survive violent winds and thin soil. Arctic fox, wild reindeer, and ptarmigan roam this rugged world. As glaciers melt, water pours down the mountainsides in tremendous cascades. Voringfossen, one of Norway's highest waterfalls, tumbles 182 meters into a cavern below. Hydropower diverts part of the river, but during tourist season, engineers release extra water to ensure the waterfall remains the spectacle it has always been, a balance between energy needs and natural beauty. Bergen is Norway's gateway to the sea, a city built on 7 mountains and famous for its rain. Yet its soaked wooden houses once anchored one of Europe's most powerful trading networks. For 400 years, German merchants of the Hanseatic League controlled trade here, dealing in stockfish shipped from Lofoten. Their influence still shapes the architecture, culture, and cuisine of the city. Today, Bergen blends the old and the new, a UNESCO World Heritage Site surrounded by contemporary culture, fishing fleets, and some of Norway's most celebrated musicians. Sognefjord was carved by glaciers, thousands of meters thick. Its arms stretch deep into the mountains, creating a labyrinth of waterways that once connected remote farms to the world. Along these fjords stand wooden churches that survived 1,000 winters. Built entirely without nails, stave churches are masterpieces of medieval engineering. Borgund, the best preserved, rises like a dark crown. Steep eaves, carved portals, and dragon heads poised to protect the sacred grounds. These dragons reflect a fusion of 2 worlds, Norse mythology and Christian symbolism. Inside, the scent of tarred pine and ancient timber tells a story of faith, craftsmanship, and survival. Jostedalsbreen is the largest glacier on mainland Europe, a frozen relic of the last ice age. In its layers, scientists find ash from ancient volcanoes, traces of atmospheric change, and evidence of climates stretching back thousands of years. But these ice fields are retreating rapidly. Meltwater carves tunnels through the ice, forming rivers that crash down valleys. In Lovetnet, two catastrophic rock slides in 1905 and 1936 sent enormous waves sweeping across villages, killing over 100 people. Nature's beauty and danger remain inseparable. On the high plains of Dovrefjell survive Norway's most ancient inhabitants, musk oxen, distant cousins of the woolly mammoths. And finally, we reach one of the world's most iconic landscapes, Geirangerfjord, a place where vertical cliffs, waterfalls, and abandoned mountain farms tell the story of human resilience. From tundra to city, from glacier to orchard, from Viking hall to stave church, Norway is a land of extraordinary contrasts. A land where the past lives within the landscape, and the landscape shapes every life. This is Norway, ancient, wild, and endlessly surprising. A journey through extremes, a journey into the heart of the North.